Noir, a type of film defined by its style, its characters, and its storylines. Born from the war and post-war period of the 40s and 50s in the United States, noir was American culture's way of expressing its frustrations, its dismay, and its darkened attitude toward the present-day state of affairs. The movement's name was coined in 1946 by Nino Frank after a post-World War II influx of American cinematic imports to France. Noir took its conventions from the Gothic melodrama, the gangster film, the whodunit, the police procedural, while taking its style from German expressionists like F.W. Murnau. You know you're watching noir when you see a couple of things. Harsh shadows, also known as chiaroscuro lighting. A femme fatale character, based upon frustrations of women gaining physical independence. A central male figure who somehow gets involved in the crime. And yes, there's always a crime. This movement being formed out of the cultural context it was, the genre was time-bound, with most scholars saying it ends in 1955 with Kiss Me Deadly. It just couldn't keep moving forward with its same uniform fatalism it was known for. It needed something else. Something new. Something... I know, clever. Stick neo-noir, get a whole different thing, right? Well, kinda. Neo-noir is classic noir, but updated. It's a self-referential take on the movement, pastiching what each installment sees fit. Self-reference doesn't make it unserious, though, not at all. Neo still does what noir did best, and that is cultural commentary. Stylistically, though, the major change comes in the form of color film. But neo-noir achieves black and whiteness by other means. That means heavily stylized usage of color, lighting, or set design. Ironically, even if it keeps the black and whiteness, the characters and stories still occupy a sort of gray area, as the morally ambiguous noir protagonist remains, but now under different, altered circumstances. The neo-noir story usually exists under three umbrellas taken from the classic mode of noir. Couple on the run, the stranger and the femme fatale, or heist gone wrong. Sometimes the film will even do all three. The neo comes in when the femme fatale sometimes is not even a true femme fatale. The heist may not even be a heist, and the couple may not even really be, well, a couple. Violence and sex are also things I didn't even mention in my discussion of classical noir. In classic noir, violence was more a threat than anything actual, but neo-noir revels in the perversity of the violent act. It pushes the knife into the viewer along with the film's victims. Sex acts the same, with it always just being referred to but not shown, something that is due to the production code, until neo-noir comes around and overtly exemplifies sexuality. Just pretend you're seeing something here. I don't want to get the video taken down, so just take my word on this one, please. The biggest difference I feel that distinguishes neo from noir is time. Noir was created in response to very specific things in a very specific time, while neo is free to pastiche and update those conventions for as long as it wants. That is really what neo does. It lives on, always renewing itself. Yet the films I've used as examples for both noir and neo-noir have something in common. They're American. So if American film and American culture are the originators of noir, and neo-noir is pastiching that America-centric movement, what happens when we go global? Do we just go back to... Let's take a look at South Korean filmmaker Park Chan-wook's Vengeance trilogy, a narratively disconnected trilogy released from 2002 to 2005, all focused on, well, vengeance. A lot of people will say that these films, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Old Boy, and Sympathy for Lady Vengeance, are neo-noir due to them exhibiting the features I previously mentioned. But for it to be neo-noir in the truest sense, it would have to be looking back on its own cultural filmic history of noir, wouldn't it? And as it turns out, South Korea just doesn't have its own noir genre to really look back upon. So where does this leave these films? Are they their own thing? Their own movement? Their own form? What if they're exactly what we think they're trying to be? That, of course, being noir. Park's trilogy, among many other films from South Korea, all breathe the air produced by American noir and neo-noir sensibilities, but now with the cultural presence of South Korea. These films have co-opted what American filmmakers did in the 40s and 50s, and are making their own responses to events and circumstances. They are their own brand of noir, relating to their Western ancestors, but also growing their own lineage and acting as distinct in their own right. This branch of noir now deals with South Korean societal issues such as corruption, class struggle, organ peddling, gangsterism, kidnapping, and above all, violence against women and children. It even rejects traditional noir tropes like the femme fatale purely because South Korean culture did not have the same contexts which led the fatale's creation that American society did. But there's still noir, through and through. That's not to say there's never a femme fatale, but there just isn't one in the traditional sense. See Lady Vengeance's protagonist. Just to really drive this home, let's look at the criteria I laid out earlier. Chiaroscuro, a femme fatale, a central male protagonist, stylized colorization, stylized lighting, stylized set design, morally gray characters, the stranger in the femme fatale, the rejection of the femme fatale, a heist gone wrong, the threat of violence, full-on violence, and crime after crime after crime after crime. I would clarify that this is specifically South Korean noir I'm talking about, as East Asian film noir isn't a new thing on its own. Akira Kurosawa was doing it back in 1948. Damn, that guy's good. I just stuck to saying noir because it's catchier. Makes a nice little title, doesn't it? Neo-noir is really one of those gifts that just keeps on giving, and South Korean noir is no different. It's forever prescient because it's forever evolving, and it's forever evolving because the world it desires to reflect is as well. So let's just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Not too much, though. But don't worry. The films will make sure to keep you on your toes.